You're watching NBC San Diego News.
Women's sports are having a real moment right now. I'm Catherine Garcia. Welcome to this edition of People You Should Know. Nationally, stars like Caitlin Clark are driving huge attention to the WNBA. Here in San Diego, we've got the Wave drawing big crowds for women's soccer. And the numbers back it up. Nielsen says viewership for professional women's soccer jumped 61% last year. Globally, women's sports is now $1 billion industry. The accounting firm Deloitte estimates it generated about $2.35 billion in revenue last year alone. And interest keeps growing. A Mintel consumer survey found more than 2/3 of Americans now follow at least one women's sport. That is up more than 50% from just a few years ago. But despite all of that, if you've ever tried to watch a big women's game at your local sports bar, you know it's still not always easy to find. Well, that's about to change here in San Diego. I sat down with one of 3 women opening San Diego's first ever women's sports bar. Kalani Millsaps is one of the people you should know here in San Diego, and she told me about the idea behind the new sports bar that they've named One of Us and what they hope One of Us will bring to San Diego sports fans.
My name's Kalani Millsaps.
And tell me, where are we? What are we sitting in the middle of right now?
We are sitting smack in the middle of the bar right now, smack in the middle of our renovations, trying to, give our space the look that we want it to have, and bring a space for all the women that are going to be coming in here to feel a part of.
What do you hope that people feel when they walk in once it's all ready to go?
Honestly, I love walking into a place and feeling a positive energy. I want it to feel very welcoming, and at the same time also make it feel like a no pressure zone. Sometimes when you walk into a sports bar, you feel like you need to know what's going on the TV, know what's going on in the game and all these things. Here we are going to accept all levels of fandom, whether it's brand new or diehard fan. We want it all here, and we want all that positive energy. In terms of what we are going for here in the bar itself, North Park is a very, very neighborhood-centric place. Most of the little neighborhoods and communities around San Diego have that neighborhood feel that you just walk down the street to your local bar, and we want to still provide that sense of being a neighborhood bar as well. In terms of the visual aspect of the space, there's going to be a lot of color and a lot of space for you to be able to move around and have groups, have friends, but at the same time it will also be a good space for you to come by yourself and meet new people and find new friends.
So tell me the story of how this even came about. When did you first come up with the idea?
So there has been several instances of me and my partner Patricia wanting to watch a game and be in a bar environment, be in a crowd, whether a brewery, wherever it be, and we would ask to put said game on the TV. It would be a big game, like a U.S. women's national soccer team game, like a semifinal or a championship, but I'll just say there's like preseason baseball or something like that on TV, and there's 6-7 TVs going on around the bar, and we could not get one TV to be put on that big game. So what would end up happening on multiple occasions, I'd pop up my phone like up against my drink, and I'd just be sitting there watching it, crank my volume up, and probably irritate a little bit of the people around me. But what would end up happening is I would get a crowd around me watching a game with me, and it happened too many times, and it got to the point where we're like, okay, let's start looking into this. What can we do to solve this problem if we don't want to be at home watching this sporting event, and we want to be out in public with people cheering on? It's different watching a sporting event with other people versus by yourself, at home on a couch. So to that end, we actually went to a Wave home opening game 2 years ago now. Yep, it was 2 years ago now. And it really became evident that we actually do need to follow through on this and make our own space. Like, nobody else is making this space for us, so we need to be the ones that do it.
What will I see when I walk in here when everything's going on the TVs? What are you going to be playing?
There's obviously going to be a priority for women's sports. We will show some men's sports as well. We love the Padres. We'll have some Padres games on. We are discussing showing some NFL games too. I grew up watching men's sports, and you know, I love all those sports.
This is not in a vacuum, right? It's not only your experience, and just the popularity in the viewership of women's sports is skyrocketing in recent years.
Yes.
That must have played a big part in your decision to do this.
Absolutely. The accessibility to women's sports has definitely played a role in this. You know, we've always had a hard time finding the things that we want to watch in terms of women's sports, whether it be on TV or via streaming. Now that there is a lot more media deals surrounding this, there's a lot more accessibility to, you know, women's pro soccer and NWSL, and then through, you know, women's pro basketball and WNBA. And now we have all these other offshoots of leagues and new things forming. So being able to view all of that has definitely, you know, increased the drive to be able to provide this space.
Tell me a little bit about what sports has meant to you, growing up as a kid and into your adulthood.
Honestly, that was where I made all my friends. Yeah, sure, I had friends at school, but sports is where I really felt comfortable and really made the connections that I wanted to have. And those friendships that I got through sports are ones that I've kept to this day.
This would be something pretty cool for girls to be able to come to, right, and watch a Wave game and to be around other people watching these sports, right?
Absolutely. One of the main questions that we get is, are my kids going to be allowed? The other one is, can I bring my son, specifically from a mom, and then from the dads, can I bring my daughter? So getting those types of questions, it's very empowering to us, because these are people that want to show their kids, like, hey, this is what the world should be. So we definitely want those kids coming in here. And we also want to make sure that we can bring, you know, youth sports teams in here and let them experience, like, hey, you know, that can be me up on TV one day.
Yeah, it's a big deal, but it's something that we didn't have when we were girls. Certainly, I would assume that was your experience, right?
Same, yes, yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
There are some other places that have done this in the last couple years. I think Portland was the first kind of model for this. They're seeing a lot of success, so that must be pretty encouraging for you.
Absolutely, yes. I believe it was 2022 when they opened their first bar, and they have now franchised, and I believe are opening 4 or 5 others across the country. And yeah, it's another reason why we felt so confident about going into this process, even not knowing anything about opening a bar. We've talked to a lot of the other bar owners across the country, and pretty much all of us are in the same boat. None of us have ever opened a bar. We're coming from different industries. We're keeping our full-time jobs, and you know, we're making it happen. So it's definitely very encouraging that we have all these other resources and other bars to look up to.
To me, this kind of seems like an idea that is a no-brainer in a way. Do you know what I mean? Because of the popularity of sports. But this has been a tough process, hasn't it? Just to open a business and to get everything in order.
Absolutely. I will say, you know, opening any business, it's going to be a tough process. Whether you know the industry or not, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be a tough process. Specifically for us, we've had a lot of support from several different people. We've brought on the right people to make this happen. But it's still, you know, a difficult thing to, one, find the funding, and then timing of everything. And luckily, you know, we have a team that is built up around us that has provided us with a lot of direction and guidance in what we need to, you know, focus our priorities on. And that's how we were able to get into this space today.
You have had pop-ups. They've been very popular and hopefully a sign of what's to come.
Yes, absolutely. Our watch parties have been phenomenal. We get amazing crowds. The most recent watch party that we had was a rugby watch party, actually, and it got so crowded in Kairoa and University Heights that we actually had people standing on the outside of the building watching through the garage roll-ups, trying to catch a glimpse of this game and be involved. And that gave us a really good idea of what we could do with this space, and also reinforced why we needed such a big space. We need to be able to host that amount of people coming through, and we're very, very excited about it. People showing up to our watch parties, that's been a huge way for us to, you know, be encouraged and excited about the entire experience, whether we are, feeling a little downtrodden after the process. I spend 12 hours a day here. I'm doing my day job here while I'm at the bar, just in case any of my guys have any questions. But the people that are poking their head in when they're walking by, like, hey, we're so excited, that's been a huge help to us, honestly.
It keeps you going.
It keeps us going, it really does.
When was the moment then for you that you knew that this was something you had to do?
It's so many moments, so many different things adding up. Before we even had any watch parties, I want to say, like, that was the real motivator, going to watch things in other spaces and just getting turned down all the time. That, unfortunately, like, the bad thing was the motivator, but the good things, the positive things, are what keep us going and what keep pushing us along to get this up and running.
What is your vision for what this space will be?
In terms of the crowd, just a lot of positive energy. We don't need people yelling angry things at the TVs. I'm sure it's going to get there, some frustrated people, but for the most part, all the people that have been showing up at our watch parties, it's a sign of who's going to be coming to our bar. And honestly, we love a good cheer, we love a good yell. There's been some chants at some watch parties too. I'm okay with that as well. In terms of the visual aspect of the space, there's going to be a lot of color and a lot of space for you to be able to move around and have groups, have friends. But at the same time, it will also be a good space for you to come by yourself and meet new people and find new friends.
And tell me the spirit behind One of Us. What does that mean?
Sure. So, a lot of it has to do with feeling like you're the only person watching women's sports. When we first started this process, we had a small group of friends that we could go watch sports with, but when we would go out and get those crowds around us, we had that, that sense of like, okay, this is actually a group of people, a group of fans that wants to be a part of this. They want to be one of us, watching the game. So it kind of came from that, and we built on it in terms of our mascot, our little wolf. So the thought behind it, and there's many things, but one of the main things is, like, when you come as a women's sports fan, you're usually coming by yourself. You're that lone wolf. But when you come here to the bar, you're going to be part of One of Us. You're going to be part of the wolf pack.
By the way, Kalani and the other One of Us founders got a nice boost from the community as they were working to open the bar. About 150 people joined a crowdfunding effort to help support the bar renovations and other opening needs. And like any favorite neighborhood spot, they already have plenty of merch, including One of Us jerseys. You can find One of Us on University Avenue, right in the heart of North Park. And you can always learn more by visiting One of Us on Instagram. Thanks for watching this edition of People You Should Know.